Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Heavy J, Contemporary Comrades Podcast, and today we've got a little bit of a pre-warning for anybody who's thinking that they might consider refusing the stick or the jab or the vax, whatever you want to call it, right? So before I get into it, make sure you like, subscribe, all that good shit, man. Also, we've got merch, all right? We're ordering the merch within the next probably 3 to 4 days from when this actually drops. So if you see this, you've got like 3 or 4 days to email us, contemporarycomrades@gmail.com, before we get that first order of merch ordered. And then we'll be distributing it after that. So if you want the first run of the Comrades merch, the inaugural run, make sure you hit us up, man. But let's get into the shit, man. So as you can see here, Indonesia capital warns of big fines for refusing the jab, right? And this is a Reuters article. I'm just looking at it through MSN News. Basically, Indonesia's capital, Jakarta, is threatening residents with fines of up to 5 million rupiah, which is $356, for refusing the jab, which is an unusually stiff penalty aimed at ensuring compliance with a new regulation, making inoculations mandatory. Yes. We'll be seeing something like this soon in America. You just watch. And I'm going to get into a little bit of why we might not get a completely locked down, you have to take it or else you die type of mandate, but we'll get into that. So Deputy Jakarta Governor Ahmad Riza Patria said city authorities were merely following rules and such sanctions were a last resort in Jakarta, which accounts for about a quarter of the archipelago nation's more than 1.2 million COVID infections. If you reject it, there are two things. Social aid will not be given. That's a big one. And a fine. So why am I saying social aid will not be given is a big issue here? Now let me break this down. What is social aid? That is government assistance. That is government help. What have we said on this podcast they are trying to get you to do by giving you help? Right? They're trying to get you to, they're like what's happening in America right now? All these government programs, social programs, stimulus checks. You know what I'm saying? Section 8, you've got SNAP food stamps, right? That's that kind of stuff. So if you refuse the jab in this country and you're on food stamps, you're on a government welfare program of some sort, you're not getting it. And that's a big thing because that's going to happen in this country at some point. Mark my words. And if it doesn't, I'm wrong, whatever. I hope it doesn't. But that's going to happen. Because it's going to come to a time where they're going to say, look, we're not doing X, Y, and Z. We're not giving you this unless you have taken the jab. Because that's what they can mandate. They can mandate social aid and social programs, and they can take that away from you without getting it. But they can't do it in the private. So they can't do it because, again, we have bodily sovereignty as human beings, right? They can't say you have to get the jab or else unless they're providing you with government social aid in which they can do it. So they'll just say, look, if you don't want it, fine. We don't want you. We're not gonna provide you with any aid. So you're on your fucking own. And how many Indonesians you think are getting social aid? I don't know, but it's probably a decent amount. But either way, all I know is a $356 fine or 5 million rupiah in Indonesia is probably a hell of a lot of money for them, right? It's probably a hell of a lot of money for them. So that's a slight concern. Basically, it says they're fighting one of Asia's biggest and most stubborn epidemics and aims to inoculate 181.5 million out of 270 million within 15 months. And then they say here nearly 34,000 Indonesians are known to have died. So let me get this straight. So I did the math on that, by the way. I did the math on that. And 34,000 deaths out of 270 million people is a 99.98% survival rate. So you're telling me that they're going to take away your social aid and fine you for not getting a stick that has that basically, well, let me rephrase that. They're going to fine you and take away your social aid for not getting a stick for something in this country, specifically in Indonesia, specifically, that has a 99.98% survival rate. Let that sink in. So you're telling me I'll lose. So if I was an Indonesian and I was on a government program and I was poor, which is unfortunately probably far too much of that population, right? You're telling me for something that has a 99.98% survival rate in my country as an Indonesian, I'm going to be required to get a stick for that, or else I'll lose all my social aid and I'll be fined more than I probably make in a year. You see how they get you? And I'm telling you, pay attention, because this will be coming to the United States. Something like this will be coming to the United States. And I can guarantee you, if it were in the form of a fine, it would be a hell of a lot more than $356. All right? And I can guarantee you, if it happens in the United States, social aid not being given, that'll probably happen too. Now we keep reading. So the penalty, they say here, the penalty will be determined by regional health agencies or by local governments. And they say even here, they even admit it. Sanctions are our last effort to encourage people's participation. The target of 181.5 million people is huge. Yeah, that's huge, bruh. That's 80 plus % of your population. You're trying to get inoculated. Now, the new regulations, it says here, the new regulation follows months of public skepticism and lingering doubts about whether the vaccines are safe, effective, and halal, or permissible by Islam, which I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they're probably fucking not. and it seems that the sentiment around the world about this particular jab is the same. So a December survey by pollster Safiul Muhani Research and Consulting showed that only 37% out of 1,200 people were willing to be jabbed. 40% were undecided, and 17 would refuse. So out of 1,202 people, 57% of them basically said, I don't know or no. That's not good numbers for them, right? So that's why they're doing all this shit. That's why they're saying, look, we're going to take away your social programs and we're going to fine you if you don't take it. And Usman Hamid, a director at Amnesty International Indonesia, said enforcing vaccinations were not the answer. Of course not. Of course not. He said a blanket mandate on vaccination, especially one that includes criminal penalties, is a clear violation of human rights, Hamid said. You don't fucking say, bruh. You don't say, bruh. This is what we're looking at here, folks. This is, like I said, we are at the crossroads of a new age. We are at the crossroads of a new way of life. We're at the crossroads of a new way that the world functions, all right? Because we are all going to be put under this control mechanism where you won't own anything. Government will be your Father, your Son, and your Holy Spirit, right? Government and AI and big tech will run your life in 10 years. Guaranteed with this shit. Government, big tech, AI, big pharma, they will be your overseers. They will be your masters. They will be your soothsayers. They will be your end-alls and your fucking be-alls. Unless you go inside yourself and you fucking stand on your own 2 feet and you say, do I really want that? Do I really want government? Do I really want AI and big tech running my fucking life? And don't get me wrong, the majority of people are going to say yes because they like the ease of use, right? They like talking to their phone. Hey Siri, how do I make a sandwich? Siri, what's 5 divided by 3 or whatever, some dumb shit, right? I don't know, man. This kind of bugs me because as somebody who has openly said that basically I'm not getting the shit, and you know, you're gonna have to be able to stand on that until either the day that the day that shit hits the fan, or you know, who knows what. Basically, that's it, right? Because what are they going to do? How far are they going to take this? Or because there's so many ways that they could do this, and there's so many ways they could go about this, right? They could, because we could take the Indonesia route and fine you and deny your social aid, or you could take the UK route and just have riot gear, basically riot police show up at your fucking house if you got more than 3 people there, essentially, or more than whoever's supposed to live there, kicking you out and fining you at the same time. Who knows? I'll tell you one thing though. If any riot, anything comes door to door in America, in any non-California, New York, liberal ass state, I'm telling you, it's going to be a bad time. And they know that. That's why they're biding their time trying to bribe people in other ways to get the stick. In America, You want to be part of the trial? Here's $1,200. Here's $1,700. Oh, here's a $1,200 stimulus. Here's another $600, and then we're gonna give you another $14 later. Here, take all this free money, take all this free shit, because they're trying to coax us into getting it because they know what will happen if they try to force us to get it. There's 100 million plus gun owners in America, and they're not going for somebody coming to their door, forcing them to get something that they may or may not want to get. Right? And again, the sentiment of who wants it and who doesn't want it is about the same. 40% undecided, 17% refuse. That's 57%. What did I just say the other day? Over 50% of Americans don't want the shit either. They're either undecided or they don't want it. So there's mass skepticism about this, and rightfully fucking so. And I think that the powers that should not be are having a hard time fighting that. I think that they're seeing a little more resistance than they thought they were going to see. Now I could be wrong on that. It could just be all, they've got a plan regardless, right? Because they typically do. They'll come up with something, right? They have the power to do whatever the fuck they want. Literally. I mean, you can see that. So I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But for the folks of Indonesia, if any of you happen to be watching, my hat's off to you. Godspeed. If you're one of the people, if you're one of the 17% perceived people who don't want this shit, I wish you well. I really do, because, I think people have got a fucked up perception on what's important in life, and going to the movies and going on concerts and shit like that, while that's great and while you need that in society, while you need that human to human interaction, there are more important things in this universe. And if refusing the stick will keep you close to those more important things within this universe and more important things within creation, my vote is you should do that. Now, what kind of detriment will that be? We'll have to find out. But personally, that's a chance I'm willing to take. And I know a few other people who actually also have that same stance of, well, that's a chance you're just going to have to take. At the end of the day, man, it's all going to work itself out one way or the other, right? Because everything always does. So, with that being said, it's Heavy J. Just some food for thought. This could be a precursor to what we may or may not see in America. Again, just stay vigilant, keep your eyes open, man, and pay attention to this shit. That's why we do this shit, man. We want you to be aware of what the hell's going on and what sort of decisions you might have to make in the very near future. Because again, they've already told us where they want everything to head within the next 5 to 10 years. And they're taking great steps to do so. They're ensuring that, right? So we need to ensure that we as sovereign beings can ensure that we take what necessary steps are right for us as sovereign beings, right? With that being said, Heavy J, Contemporary Comrades, like, subscribe, and I'm out.